Start at the very beginning. Can we start with your full name?
My full name?
Yes.
Archie Bunker.
Well, he was called Meathead, and the reason he was called that is because that's what Norman Lear's father called him. They'd get into fights, and Norman Lear's father would say, "You're a meathead, dead from the neck up." And they would, a lot of screaming back and forth in Norman's house, from what I understand. So he just extracted that and made that a part of this, and I thank him for it, because, you know, nobody calls me that now, oddly enough. No, I'm kidding. Get that every day of my life. Literally every day of my life, somebody will say, "Hey, Meathead." And I said, you know, no matter what I do with my life, I could win the Nobel Prize, it'll say Meathead wins Nobel. It doesn't matter. So that's, I have Norman Lear to thank for that.
She took every word as the surface meaning. So if you said you could eat a horse, she'd call the SPCA, you know. So the girls could say terrible things to her, but the words all sounded fine, so she got along great. She's totally innocent, totally innocent. And it gave you such a yardstick, and whatever Rose said, she believed completely. I mean, she told him her second grade teacher in St. Olaf was Adolf Hitler. She believed it. She thought that was Adolf Hitler.
I made a deal with myself that I would never comb my hair. I would never chew gum. I would never wear a Garrison belt, you know, those big thick belts they wore in the 50s with the buckle off to the side. I'd never have cigarettes in my sleeve, because every actor who ever played this character did that. Second day on the set, they said, "Go comb your hair." I said, "No, I can't do that," because I made a promise to myself that I'm not going to do that. He said, "It's written here. The producer said you're going to do it, you're going to do it." I went, "Oh. Okay, now I got to be true to myself, but I can't be disrespectful." So I walked to the mirror, took out my comb. Hey, you don't have to, because it's perfect. And that's how that moment came to be.
People say that Marion Cunningham was sort of ditzy. She wasn't ditzy at all. What it was is, like many women, she has many things on her mind. She's thinking of so many different things that it looks like she doesn't know what she's thinking about. But it's because she's way ahead of everybody, and she's running them all.
There was no lesson there about feminism or women's rights. She was doing her job as a genie, and she did it very well. It had nothing to do with a man-woman relationship. This was, and she called him master, but honey, who was the real master there, you know? She was on top of the world.
So I became very involved with Dynasty. I thought, if this isn't the biggest hoot I've ever seen, and the world is loving it. We needed it at that time. What was this, Reagan? Was this the Reagan era? So this was the fallout that Reagan had tried to prepare us for. Everyone was elegant. Everyone was rich. Everyone was traveling all over the world. And I said, that's what I want to do. That's what I need to do.
That's what made the show a hit, was Don. Because originally, that's what I didn't like about the show. They had me as sheriff, justice of the peace, editor of the paper, and I'd tell little funny stories about people around town. That would have lasted maybe 2 weeks.
It was, first of all, roughly equivalent. Maybe someone will be watching this videotape 40 or 50 years from now, and this will already have happened, that a group of reporters has now traveled to the moon with the President of the United States, hit a couple of golf shots on the moon, turn around and come back again. That was roughly what it felt like in 1972 to go to China with Richard Nixon.
As for me personally, the big thing were the 72 games in Munich. Reporting is reporting. It's basically the same thing, telling the facts of what have happened here and is happening here, and also giving something of the flavor of what it feels like to be here at this point. So the reporting aspect didn't bother me. The idea of telling these people that all these men were dead, of course it did. It was one of the most terrible moments of my life, and I think everybody who has seen it.
At that moment in time, the world realized that kids might rule the world. They had their own music, their own fashion, their own money. Aha! All of a sudden they came in. Bandstand was a hit maker because radio disc jockeys would listen, program directors listen to it and say, we better be playing that.
It was really a jumbled mess from a writing standpoint. And I remember Donnie Most and I sitting there looking at the script. Donnie was really upset. He just said, oh man, look at what our show has kind of devolved into here. I mean, you know, it's not even, none of this is very funny, and, you know, and Fonzie jumping over a shark, and we all thought it was a little ludicrous.
My father suggested a storyline. The man who didn't want me to be an actor. The man who all of a sudden became the co-producer of Henry Winkler suggested, he said, why don't you water ski? You're a good water skier. So I water skied and jumped the shark, and then came Jump the Shark.